There is nothing worse than realizing you've not saved enough money for your retirement. And if you're not convinced, I have a fun exercise to make my point. Now, there are many studies that show 40% of people's sole retirement is Social Security. And my peers and I believe it's actually higher. But whether it is or not, this equates to about $1,600 to $1,800 a month that you're going to get. So just imagine what it would be like to live on that. I mean, for many of us, it's like, oh my gosh, it's just hard to even fathom. But let's just assume that's what the number is going to be for you. So what I encourage you to do is to go out and find an apartment. I mean, what can you afford? Maybe $900 a month. That would leave you $900 left for utilities and food. I'm not sure if that's enough. Maybe it's going to be $700, but a cheap apartment, maybe even $600 if you could even find it. It's probably going to be in a poor area, and it's unlikely you're going to be able to afford a car, so you can't go out safely at night, and you can't afford to eat healthy foods. So go to the local Walmart and purchase some ramen noodles and tuna fish or anything that's cheap, and just try it out for 3 months. See what it's like. And I guarantee you, you're going to go, wait a minute. There is nothing fun about ending up broke. And today you're going to learn 6 of the most common retirement planning mistakes so you can secure a retirement you love. So stay tuned. Hi, my name is Annette Bau, your host of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast. I'm a certified financial planner and founder of the Millionaire Insider. For over 30 years, I have been advising and researching the top 1% of millionaires, and I am passionately obsessed with money, mindset, and the intersection of self-worth and net worth, and how the two connect and allow us to live fulfilled and wealthy lives on our terms. I'm a Midwestern girl who had a dream, began investing $25 a month 35 years ago, and today have a multi-million-dollar net worth. I teach the tried and true that only someone with over 3 decades of experience advising millionaires would know. This podcast is different, about much more than money. We talk about mindset, success, money blocks, worth barometer, and all aspects of money and topics from practical manifestation, along with real-world how-to and everything in between, with the goal of making your journey easier and more fun. Think of this as coffee, actually matcha tea, learning real-world common sense money and life advice from a BFF that you can start applying today. If you want to create a financially free life you love, you are in the right place, my friend. This is the Wealth Inside and Out podcast. So let's dive into 6 retirement planning mistakes you need to avoid. Today, you're going to learn the biggest retirement planning mistakes that people make, how to avoid Social Security mistakes, and specifically when you take your benefit, as well as free money many people are missing out on getting, and much more. Today's free resource is our retirement plan checklist. You can go to themillionaireinsider.com/RPC to access this resource, but you're going to love it. It provides you an overview of the actions you need to take so you can avoid worrying about running out of money and also ensure that you can live your life and retirement on your terms. We share insights in this free retirement plan checklist resource that many people don't even think of. So again, you can go to themillionaireinsider.com/RPC. One of the most common concerns women have is running out of money and becoming a bag lady, not being able to afford their standard of living or really even having enough money for the essentials. This guide is a great first step to help you create a plan so you can stop worrying. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/RPC. You're going to love that resource. For today's show notes, you can go to themillionaireinsider.com/24. All materials and intellectual property in this course are copywritten by themillionaireseries.com. The information we provide is not intended to replace any advisor or specialist or to provide any investment, financial, tax, retirement, or any planning or healthcare advice. All participants agree to hold millionaireseries.com and its affiliates harmless for results achieved or not achieved. So retirement is a very important milestone, and it requires careful planning to ensure your financial future is secure. Unfortunately, many individuals make common mistakes that can jeopardize their future. And by the time they figure it out, in some cases, it's too late to change course. Today, I'm going to share with you 6 common retirement planning mistakes, as well as insights you can implement so you can avoid them. The first one, and probably the most important in my opinion, is running out of money. Too many people do not have a contingency plan if they live longer than expected. And I was listening to this couple talk about the fact that when they had to die, and if they didn't die by then, they weren't going to have money. And I was like, I felt like I was getting hives. I was like, oh my gosh, that's tragic. But longevity risk refers to the potential financial risk associated with living longer than you expect. It's the risk of running out of money. And in my opinion, it is the biggest retirement planning mistake you can make. Now, it's wonderful to think about living a long, healthy life, but it requires money and oftentimes a lot of it. So you've got to create that into your plan. And the bottom line is longevity risk, which is what we're talking about, essentially boils down to outliving your retirement savings and income sources. So let's look at a more in-depth look at longevity risk and the mistakes to avoid it. The first one is just the risk of depleting your retirement savings. If you don't have enough money put away or you are taking too much money out of your retirement, you're going to end up with no money in it. Another one is inflation. A major retirement mistake is not having the purchasing power of your money, meaning over time it's going to erode as inflation increases. And what that means, bottom line, is you can't afford essentials. You can't afford food, medical treatment, medications, all of those things. It's not pretty. So what are some of the things you can do to avoid longevity risk? One is start saving earlier. The sooner you begin saving for retirement, the more time your nest egg has to compound interest and increase. Set realistic goals about where you're going to live, how much it's going to cost, when you're going to retire. Diversify your assets and investments. Avoid putting all of your eggs in one basket or taking too much risk. When you diversify your assets across various categories like stocks, bonds, real estate, it's better. You're spreading the risk. But sometimes I see people putting way too much money in one area and it can be a problem. Add in guaranteed income sources. This is probably my best recommendation. I love guaranteed income. And generally speaking, it's from an insurance company where you have an annuity. And if it's the right type of annuity, it's going to provide you a lifetime income option where you have guaranteed income for your life. And this protects against the risk of outliving your savings, meaning you're going to get that money every single month. It's kind of like Social Security, even though, a lot of people think Social Security is not going to be around, or if it is around, they think we're not going to get as much. So it's similar to that concept, only you have an insurance company backing it and it is guaranteed for your life. And you can also get them where they're guaranteed for a minimum of 20 years. So let's say you start taking the money and you die within 10 years, your heirs will get the other 10 years of income. Another option is to delay Social Security benefits. And my recommendation here, if you can afford to, it makes sense. You got to look at the numbers, but you got to look at the numbers and you got to look at your health. Those are two of the factors. But assuming that your health is good and you look at the numbers and you can afford to do it, delaying Social Security benefits until the maximum age is ideal. And that number probably will change. Right now it is 70, but it's probably going to go up. Plan for healthcare costs increasing. It's amazing how many people don't take that into account. Guys, it's going to happen. Healthcare costs have quadrupled and there's no end in sight. So you got to factor that in. And then regularly review and adjust your plan. It's amazing. Somebody sets a plan and then they never look at it. That is a problem. So make sure you're looking at it with a qualified financial advisor, hopefully someone who is registered. Which brings me to my next point, that you do have a financial advisor. And there are a lot of people out giving investment and financial planning advice who are not registered. And that just spells the potential for a problem, like a disaster. And so I really encourage you to make sure whoever is providing you advice really has the knowledge and the expertise to provide it. Consider working longer or getting a part-time job. Working even one more year, it's amazing what it does to your retirement. And continuing to work, even if it's part-time, can help supplement your retirement income. Now, a lot of people were forced to stop working early because of COVID. So you got to always factor in that there always are risks that could cause that plan to not work. And that's why you want to have a contingency plan. And then be willing to make lifestyle adjustments. You got to be prepared. You may have to downsize your home or move to a cheaper community. Look at what you can cut from non-essential expenses. Explore more budget-friendly living arrangements. And the key here is to do it before you have to, meaning once it's too late, oftentimes it's just a problem. So really be aware of that. Number 2, delay retirement planning. It's easy to postpone thinking about retirement, right? You're young, retirement's way off, or maybe you're thinking your husband's doing it or your wife's doing it. But the earlier you start saving, the more likely your retirement is going to be secure. Now, one of the things to really remember is that most companies have an employer-sponsored retirement plan. Always fund your retirement at a minimum to the employer matching point. That's typically 3 or 6%. Now, my weight training coach was talking about wanting to get his affairs in order. We're having conversation. I'm like, do you have a 401k? Yeah. Are you funding it? No. Does your employer match it? Yeah. I think it's like 6%. I'm like, that is money you're just giving away. So he immediately set it up. But that's really important. When you don't save, one of the things that's a problem is you lose the opportunity of compound interest. This is what happens when your money accumulates interest and then you're earning interest on the principal and the interest. It's huge. And over years, it can be significant. So really be aware of that. You want to get all the money you can, and compound interest is an amazing vehicle that you get by saving early and continuing to save. Insufficient savings. You wait too long to start saving, you're not going to have enough money. And then what ends up happening is you start taking more risk than you should. And taking a lot of risk, especially when you are older, it can be devastating, and it is not recommended. So please don't make that your solution. So what can you do to avoid procrastinating when it comes to retirement planning? Number 1, just set clear goals. You want to have long-term retirement goals, and you really want to have a vision, because a vision of what your future looks like and what you're going to be able to do can really be a motivating factor to starting to create a plan. You want to automate your savings. Set up automatic contributions to retirement accounts like 401ks, IRAs, or a Roth IRA. This ensures that a portion of your income goes directly into your retirement savings before you have an opportunity to spend it. And then seek professional help from a registered financial advisor. Really, it's a registered investment advisor, but somebody who is qualified to help you create a retirement plan that's tailored to your goals and circumstance. Now, if you have money mindset issues, you may want to hire a money coach or a financial coach. But again, you don't want to be getting retirement planning, investment planning, or financial planning advice from a money coach or a retirement coach. You can also check out themillionaireinsider.com/TWA for our Wealth Academy. That's going to provide you a lot of insight on success mindset, money mindset, creating your spending plan, and also generating more income, which is really the key to securing a retirement you love. All right, number 3, no spending plan. Another major mistake is failing to budget or track your expenses. Without a clear understanding of your financial situation, it is virtually impossible to determine how much you need to save for retirement. And that is a major retirement planning mistake. So when you don't have a spending plan, what ends up happening is you fail to track your expenses. You often then don't know what you're spending and you don't know how much you have to save and you don't know what you need to do to get where you're going. Because to determine how much you need to save, you've got to know what your expenses are so you know what you're going to need to spend in retirement. And then you can figure out how much money you need to accumulate to have that number. So, how do you create a spending or budget plan? The first thing you want to do is establish a monthly budget that outlines your income and expenses. This includes discretionary spending, such as dining out, entertainment, travel, as well as a comprehensive view of your habits. Like, what do you have a tendency of spending money on? I was on TV one year a lot, and the host said, "Oh my gosh, my issue is boots." She just loved boots. And I'm like, well, it's not going to kill you if you buy a pair of boots. She goes, "No, I go and buy like tons of boots." Right. That's a problem. You can also use budgeting tools. There are many budgeting apps and tools available that can help you track expenses and stay on top of your finances. And then just regularly review your spending plan. I got kind of sloppy. I use an app, which is really helpful, but I got kind of sloppy. And, the problem is because we have different properties and we have a lot going on, it's hard for me to know what the numbers are. Like somebody says, well, how much money are you spending a month on water? Well, it depends on which property. But I've become a lot more aware of it. And I do a lot of our accounting because I find that it forces me to be more present and paying more attention as compared to when I was delegating all of it. I was spending more time and I wasn't paying attention. So just be aware of that and do what you need to do to make sure you're on top of it. Number 4, not planning for higher than expected healthcare costs. One thing we know for sure is that healthcare expenses are going to increase. And this is a critical retirement planning mistake that many people make. Not only is the cost of healthcare increasing, but so are medications. So we got to be aware of that because some of the problems it causes is financial strain. You need healthcare, medical care, and you can't afford it. Meaning, are you going to eat or are you going to buy your medicine? I mean, it is tragic to see these people who share that they have to choose between feeding their kids or feeding themselves or getting their prescriptions. I mean, it is a problem. Another issue is inflation. As healthcare costs increase, we have less money for other areas, for other expenses. And it not only is it a problem, but it causes major stress. So what can you do? The first thing you can do is investigate current healthcare costs in your area and also research potential healthcare providers and insurance plans for retirees. They're more geared towards the medications you may likely need in retirement. So make sure and look into that. Consider purchasing a long-term care insurance policy. This can cover expenses and reduce the financial burden on your family if you do need nursing home care or home health care. Always, always use a qualified long-term care expert when you're purchasing a policy. Another thing is to build a healthcare emergency fund so that you've got some extra funds set aside for unexpected medical expenses. Always ask if you pay cash if they'll give you a discount. Number 5, relying too heavily on Social Security. Social Security may be a valuable source of retirement income. That said, it should never, ever be your sole or primary source of income in retirement. And too many people rely on it, and it leaves them very financially vulnerable. Some of the issues when you rely too heavily on it is an uncertain future. A lot's changing. There's no longer going to be the working force that's going to fund it for people as they get older. And one thing that's sure, most people would agree, is that while the benefit may not completely disappear, it's very likely that the amounts and eligibility are going to change. Having inadequate income is a problem. And when you have other sources of revenue, it's ideal. As I mentioned at the beginning, studies show that 40% of Americans' sole retirement income is Social Security, and that equates to about $1,600 to $1,800 a month. My peers and I think it's higher. It's amazing how many people I even know that rely solely on it. A lot of them are financial advisors. It's just horrifying. So what are some of the things you can do? Diversify your income sources. As I mentioned earlier, always start saving early. Take advantage of employer-sponsored retirement accounts and always put money in your own investment accounts. Start investing early. And ideally, you want to be using a registered investment advisor when you're getting investment advice. All right, delay taking benefits. Delaying your Social Security until full retirement age is so important. So instead of taking your Social Security benefit at age 62 or the earliest time you can, wait until you max out the benefit. Currently it's 70, but it's probably going to go up. So just pay attention to that. And then consult a registered financial advisor. A financial planner can help you create a diversified income strategy that aligns with your goals. So you don't have to worry about making retirement planning mistakes. All right, number 6, ignore investment risk. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing this more and more often. And what's crazy is that people either don't take enough or they take too much, and it's frightening. When we ignore investment risk, what ends up happening is we may have inadequate returns because we have investments that are in too low interest-bearing accounts. Now, right now, because inflation's high, savings accounts are higher than normal. All right. That said, for years, it's been very, very low. So we have to be aware of it. We've got the risk of not earning enough money. And even at, say, 3 to 5% earning, that may not be enough for you to accumulate the amount of money you need. So you got to be aware of that. And then volatility, taking too much risk. It's amazing how we've been in an up market for literally 14 years. And there are so many people that are now investing or even giving advice that have never been through a down market. And it's almost like they've forgotten that that can actually happen. But trust me, it does. And it can be devastating in the real estate market and in the stock market and in the bond market. So just be aware of that. So some tips to avoid investment risk. Diversify your portfolio. Don't have all of your eggs in one basket. You might have some stocks, some real estate, some cash, some fixed income, annuities. Just make sure you're diversified. And then you've got to understand your risk tolerance. One of the things I always find fascinating is I always say the best time to find a person's risk tolerance is when the market drops, because everyone is a growth or aggressive growth investor when the market's going up. And then it drops and you see these people like panicking. It's like, wait a minute, your score came back that you were aggressive growth. Really, you're like a moderate conservative. It's fascinating. So be aware of that. And then you've got to regularly review and adjust your portfolio to make sure it's in line with what you need to do, your goals and your risk tolerance. All right. So that concludes the 6 common retirement planning mistakes. Avoiding these common mistakes is a huge first step. Creating a plan focused on achieving a secure and comfortable retirement is critical. So let's review the steps. Number 1, running out of money. So start planning early. Consider purchasing an annuity with a guaranteed income stream, especially as you get older. 2, delay planning for retirement. You need to create a plan and set goals. 3, not having a spending plan. Just create one with your income and your expenses and then stick to your budget. 4, making sure you're planning for higher healthcare costs. 5, relying too heavily on Social Security. This just requires that you diversify your income sources and that you have more than just Social Security for your retirement plan. And then 6, managing investment risk, making sure you're not too low or too high and that you're right for what your goals and objectives are. And then always consult with a registered investment advisor or a certified financial planner, somebody who is qualified in the areas of investment planning. It's going to pay you back huge dividends if you implement. And you just got to remember that retirement planning is an ongoing process. Getting help and staying the course is the key. And by taking proactive steps and avoiding these common mistakes, you are going to be able to secure a financial future and retirement you love. And I know some days may seem hard. As I share, I started investing $25 a month 35 years ago. And I just started investing in a mutual fund. And at the time, I had no extra money. I was a single mother and I had to watch every penny I had. And it was that discipline of doing it when I couldn't afford it that I am convinced is why I'm where I am today, which is more wealth than I could have ever imagined. And just by simply starting and being consistent at it, it changes everything. And so I really encourage you to just take that first step. You're going to be so glad you did. If you love the content of this podcast, please follow and subscribe to our channel so you get notified of episodes, and also give us a 5-star review and share a comment. We really appreciate it. Congratulations on taking another step to create a financially free life you love. If you're not sure about your financial future or that it's in order, or you are ready to stop worrying about money, or possibly the fear of becoming a bag lady, ending up broke in retirement, or you simply are ready to know your financial house is in order so that you can have a bright financial future, please go to themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. And that doesn't stand for non-sufficient funds. It stands for Next Step Finance. It's the next best step of what you need to do so you can avoid an NSF notice in your future. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. The number of women who were not broke or poor while working or married is staggering. The entire mission of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast is to ensure you have the information for you, your family, your friends, anyone who's willing to listen to it and apply it so that you can create a financially free life you love. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. Until our next episode, take one action that will help you create a financially free life you love. I'm Annette Ba'u, your host. All international copyrights are reserved. Bye for now.